the upcoming Alamo Bowl. Also, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel, Cal transfer quarterback Fernando Mendoza is committed to Indiana. Kentucky receiver Dane Key will transfer to Nebraska. He made the announcement on social media. College football bowl action tonight on ESPN Radio. The Hawaii Bowl between South Florida and San Jose State. Coverage kicks off in about an hour.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen coming up Monday. Dan Orlovsky joins the show at 7:15 a.m. Eastern to recap the first round of the college football playoffs as well as react to Week 16 in the NFL. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Oh boy. Hey Mike, do you know right now who is getting the tinglies as they're listening to us here in For Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio when they hear this song?
Oh, tell me, who is that?
Every national baseball writer, all these olds who are covering the grand old game, anytime they hear Bruce Springsteen, it would be like an 18-year-old hearing Taylor Swift. You've never seen more older grown men swoon over another man than when an ink-stained wretch who's covered baseball for 30 years having to fly into a town where there's a Springsteen concert, they go streaking naked across the quad as quick as they can.
You lying. Please tell me that's not true.
Mike, I can tell you 3 Boston baseball writers right now who combined have probably seen Springsteen 300 times.
Oh, my God. So
have you ever seen Mad Dog Russo in New Jersey? Whenever there's like a Springsteen impersonator there or whatever, or, one to sing Santa Claus is coming to town and that squeaky Donald Duck voice of his. And I love him and he knows it.
So basically what the young kids do for Taylor, the old seam heads we're doing for Bruce.
Ask your baseball friends. I really do think so. And I know your word was in the NFL, but you're an esteemed journalist. You're a professor at IU and things like that, right? You know these people. I'm telling you, you would be, if you started to do a poll of on the beat for 10 or more years and say 40 or older, you will find a ton of those baseball writers who would see Bruce Springsteen eat a banana if they could.
I got to tell you, and I spent a couple years in Minnesota covering the Twins during the Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer days, and I'm glad I did not fall trap and let those guys suck me into liking Bruce Springsteen. So thank you to all those baseball writers in the Twin Cities for sending me down that path.
There you go. Shout out Lavelle Neal. There it is. You didn't get sucked into that vortex, and that is good to hear and good to know. But no, it is fun to kind of make fun of some of the baseball writers because they absolutely do. They go nuts for Springsteen. Of course, it is Christmas Eve. Wells and I will be here tomorrow night with you, 7 p.m. to midnight in the East on ESPN Radio. And let's get to some of the headlines from ESPN and ESPN.com. How about this, Mike, from Aaron Rodgers? Now, I know Aaron Rodgers is a frequent guest of the Pat McAfee show, but Aaron Rodgers, discussing his future, said he must be, quote, in the plans of multiple people, starting with the ownership, end quote, for the Jets to retain him in 2025. When asked about whether he believes Johnson wants him back, he said, quote, you should ask Woody. And then the next question to Aaron Rodgers was, has he had any conversations with Johnson about his future? And answered no. What's your read on this, Mike?
If I'm sitting there looking at the story on ESPN.com myself, you had to get the vibe that maybe Woody Johnson is going to swallow his pride and realize this has been a 2-year failure.